Hey, everyone. Get this. Jamaica's trying this thing called like a reverse income tax credit, and it's kind of wild.
Yeah, definitely attention grabbing.
So imagine this. Getting a tax credit, not for, what you owe, but as straight up cash.
A bold move for sure.
That's what's up right now in Jamaica, at least for a big chunk of their people.
Significant portion of the population, yeah.
We're talking a one-time 20,000 Jamaican dollar payout, and get this, anyone making under $3 million a year is eligible.
Which could potentially impact, almost 600,000 people?
580,000 to be exact. Huge, right?
It's not just some minor policy tweak. This is the Jamaican government taking a swing at income inequality.
Right, like head on.
Especially with how tough the economy is right now,
So they keep saying reverse income tax credit, but like for everyday Jamaicans, what's that even mean?
Essentially, they're flipping the script on how we think of tax breaks. Instead of just owing less, they're giving money directly to those who need it most.
Makes sense. Prices are outrageous everywhere these days.
Exactly, and it's targeted at those feeling it the most.
Speaking of, they're being pretty intentional with who this helps, right?
Absolutely.
Like the finance minister called out specific jobs. Clerks, security guards, restaurant workers.
Oh yeah, those essential folks.
Exactly. The ones traditional tax relief often misses.
100%. They're the ones on the front lines, often in lower-paying jobs, getting hit hardest by all this inflation. This cash injection is meant to give them some immediate relief and hopefully get the economy moving a bit.
So let's get into the nuts and bolts. How's this whole thing going to work? Like, if someone's listening, thinks they might qualify, what do they do?
Well, the Tax Administration, Jamaica, TA for short, they're really aiming for simplicity here.
Good.
They've learned a lot from past programs, like that CARE program during the pandemic.
Right.
This time, they're aiming for smoother sailing.
That's reassuring, for sure. Sounds like they're being proactive about actually reaching the people this is intended to help. But how are they going to make sure that happens? So how's the TAJ actually getting this money to people?
They're going all digital, making it easy to register online. Then it goes through this automatic check to see who's eligible.
Smart. Cuts down on the back and forth.
Exactly. And get this, they've teamed up with banks and even those remittance places to actually get the payments out.
So no matter how you usually handle money, they've got you covered.
They're trying to cover all their bases, that's for sure.
Makes sense with so many people potentially eligible. Speaking of, any idea how long this whole process takes, start to finish,
They've actually given a timeline, which is always good for transparency.
Right. No one wants to be left in the dark.
Applications are open until January 2nd next year, and they're aiming to have all payments processed by March 31st.
Okay, so no waiting around forever, wondering if your application went through. That's good. But you know what I found really interesting? That quote from the Jamaica Employers Federation's CEO.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
He was talking about how this whole tax credit thing might make people in the informal economy jealous.
Ah, yes, that's an important angle.
What do you mean by that, though? What is the informal economy?
It's a good question. Basically, it's all the stuff that happens under the radar, not officially registered or taxed. Think like street vendors, small farmers, freelance gigs, where people might not be reporting all their income.
Got it. So under the table kind of stuff.
Exactly. And the CEO's point is that by giving this benefit to those playing by the rules, it might make those in the informal sector think twice.
Like, hey, maybe there are some perks to being official.
Right, exactly.
So this tax credit could actually incentivize people to join the formal economy.
That's the hope, at least.
And that would mean what, exactly?
Well, potentially, a lot. A bigger tax base for the government, more economic activity that's actually trackable, and maybe even better financial inclusion for those who've been shut out.
It's like this whole ripple effect just from this one policy.
Potentially, yeah. Though we have to acknowledge, there are always challenges with these big rollouts.
Oh, for sure. And they even admitted there's an expected 10% failure rate, right?
Yeah, 10% won't benefit, which is still a lot of people, even if it works mostly as intended.
So what are the reasons behind that 10% falling through the cracks? So with that 10% potentially missing out, what are the factors that contribute to people, even with the best intentions, not being able to take advantage of this initiative?
Well, it's tricky, right? Like, awareness is a big one. Even if the government tries, getting the word out to everyone, especially those in remote areas or folks not glued to the news, it's tough.
Yeah, that makes sense. Plus, even if you hear about it, not everyone's tech savvy, right? Like, getting online, filling out forms, that's not easy for everyone.
Absolutely. And then there's the trust factor. Some people, they're just wary of any government program. you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Bad experiences, general distrust, all that.
Right. They might not want to hand over personal info or figure it's more trouble than it's worth.
So even with good intentions, you can't always guarantee everyone benefits equally. It's kind of disheartening.
It's the reality of these things, unfortunately.
And look, this whole thing is being presented as a way to help people right now, which is crucial, but is it really a long-term solution? I mean, one payment doesn't magically fix the bigger economic problems.
You've hit the nail on the head. This initiative is like a Band-Aid, right? Helps with the immediate pain, but it doesn't erase the systemic issues causing it in the first place.
So what happens after this one-time payment? Do people start acting differently, or does the government actually change its approach to policy?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Will this build trust in the government, make people want to participate more in the formal economy? Time will tell.
It's like a giant experiment, and we're the ones watching to see what happens.
Exactly. And the results could have huge implications, not just for Jamaica, but for other countries dealing with similar stuff. It'll be interesting to see if this sparks new conversations, new approaches to these problems.
Well, there you have it, everyone. We've really untacked this whole reverse income tax credit, from how it works to what it aims to achieve and all the potential ripples it could create. What are your thoughts on this bold experiment? It's a conversation starter for sure. Let us know what you think, and until next time, keep diving deeper.